Intelligent talk that's sure to raise the IQ.
Here's Guy Wehman, Ben Brunson, and Frank Vernuccio inside the news.
Welcome back to our second segment of this edition of Inside the News. Glad to have you with us, Frank Vernuccio, Ben Brunson, myself, Guy Wehman. Okay, Ben, let's get right to it here. The U.S. and the UN, global elitism, and anytime we try and go to the UN, they kind of shut us down here, Ben.
Well, that's usually the case, and unfortunately for the United States and the world, it is the case right now. Under the JCPOA agreed to in 2015 by the Obama administration leading the charge, and the Iranians come this October will legally be able to buy weapon systems from around the world. The arms embargo against Iran comes to an end in just a handful of weeks. And for countries like Germany, Russia, and China, they see dollar signs. For them, Iran is a huge market for advanced weaponry. Iran has a strong desire to buy the most advanced weapons in the world to counter the great Satans of the United States and Israel. They want to buy advanced missile technology so that when they go nuclear, they can put nuclear warheads on intercontinental ballistic missiles that will hit their intended target. And that is the reality of the situation. Donald Trump recognizes that. Of course, the Israelis, it is clearly a mortal threat to them, so they fully understand what's going on. And Donald Trump is trying to stop it, and unfortunately, dollar signs are prevailing over the UN. But Donald Trump, to his credit, did unequivocally state, and I've been looking for this for a while, he made it very clear we will not allow Iran to go nuclear. That is their desire. Make no mistake. It is not a question of if, it is a question of when they will try to break out and become a nuclear power. They have spent an insane amount of their national treasure and resources, an inordinate amount, pursuing this nuclear dream and the desire to go nuclear and become a nuclear power like Pakistan and other countries. But the difference here is they want to destroy Israel. They've stated as much. They state it every day, and the mullahs who run that country will do it if they can.
You know, Frank, as Ben was talking there, and the desire of Iran to go nuclear, we all understand that, at least the three of us and the majority of the people that listen to our program. But the young people today, I don't think they fully get what nuclearism is and what that's going to mean. They have not lived through that Russia threat that we all lived through, and stop, drop, and roll and avoid the flash of light and everything. What a nuclear holocaust could mean to this country. To them, it's just a word, okay, it's nuclear, and this is just another thing. And I don't think they sense the reality of it, Frank.
Let's break this down to its most basic political level. The Democratic Party bases its success on providing more freebies to more people. Any dollar that's spent on defense is a dollar taken away from their social welfare programs. So for decades, the Democrats have been against appropriate, adequate, and necessary military spending because it means that percentage of the budget can no longer go to pay for freebies, which is how they consistently get elected. Their policies on law and order, their policies on economics are all failures. All they can really do is bribe people to vote for them by giving them more freebies from the government. When you talk about spending dollars on defense, that takes away from that, and that's simply not part of their game plan.
Ben, do you think that, it's pretty obvious that the DNC treat the people like dumb sheep? And that, we all kind of chuckle, but they do. Hey, you do what we say and, you're fine.
Well, that is I would say, a tenet of leftist ideology, which is that the government knows best. When leftists talk about it takes a village, what they're saying is that they want the government is that village. They want the government to decide to raise its children, to raise your children, decide what's best for you. It's the endless string of new regulations and laws and prohibitions, and you will not eat salt anymore, you can't use a straw, you can't eat meat, whatever it is. Unfortunately, that's the ideology. It goes hand in hand with leftist ideology.
Okay, Frank, let's go on to this next thing. And I saw this in the news, and this is bouncing all over Twitter, is that the BBC decided to not have the lyrics to Land in Hope and Glory on there, and the Brits are furious about that. And, that's just another global elitism movement by the BBC, Frank.
We sometimes look at things from a parochial perspective in the United States, and that's fair enough. I mean, every country does. But the activities of groups like Antifa, Black Lives Matter, and indeed the left as a whole is not just a rejection of America, it's a rejection of Western culture in its entirety. Indeed, it's a rejection of everything that Western civilization has accomplished from the Enlightenment down to today. And when you see these odd cultural attacks, what they're really saying is that all Western culture is bad. Teaching the writings of dead white men is bad. Everything we've accomplished, whether it's the Industrial Revolution, which has been a particular focal point of the Green New Deal, all of that is terrible. All of that is bad. Western civilization has been a cancer on society. That's where they are going with all of this. And whether it's an attack on America's Bill of Rights, or on Britain's history of promoting freedom, all of that is an attack on Western civilization, because leftism, socialism, is not really compatible with the freedom that has been the crowning glory of Western civilization.
Ben, in this last 60 seconds, we saw the immigration movement coming from the Middle East up and through Europe culturally changed all of those countries.
Well, unfortunately, Europe is changing quite dramatically. And I would say not for the better, but it is going to become a majority Muslim eventually, based on current demographic trends. You have a secular population, historical population that is not procreating, that is dying off. And you have a fast growing Muslim population that is very young and having lots of kids. So the future of Europe will be different. That much I know.
All right, and there's now some truth to roll over Beethoven, I guess, in there from the old cultures. That's going to do it for this segment. We're going to be back, and we're going to talk about Biden in the basement, the Indies leading more toward a positive America. This is Inside the News. We'll be back.
You're listening to Wehman, Brunson, and Vernuccio, Inside the News.